This is just going to be a short sequence to focus on the hips and hamstrings, but with a little bit of warm-up prep in the beginning, and just some nice things you can do if you're feeling tight or feeling like you only have 10 minutes and you want to get the body moving in some way, which is really what your yoga practice can be. Just a pause in your day to take some time for yourself, to move, to breathe, to just let yourself have a moment. So we are going to get started today in child's pose. So take your knees as wide as your body will allow, and you sit back on those on those heels. Take your arms in front of you and just let your forehead relax. If your knees don't allow this much bending, you can definitely take the angle out of that, make it a bigger angle. Make child's pose work for you. You are also always welcome to take a blanket rolled up and put it under those knees, so when you sit back, you're a little bit more elevated. But holding this child's pose. Kind of wiggling a little if you want. Taking some deep breaths, matching your inhales to your exhales. Just kind of letting everything settle. Remember, this is a pause for you in your day. Then carefully start to walk those hands over to the right. Stack your left hand on top of your right hand. Bring your torso with it. Feel that stretch along the left side of you. Keep your neck comfortable. Your neck really should not be doing anything here. If you feel like the stretch is too big, you can back off and walk your hands a little bit more centered. It's really up to you. Walk your hands back through center, walk them over to the left, stack your right hand on top of your left hand. You can either stay still or you can pause. Your torso should kind of be over that left thigh. Just breathing here, giving yourself some space to find comfort in here. Get that right side stretch. And carefully walk back to center. Take those hands, come into a tabletop position, which means knees over hips, wrist under shoulders. Put most of your weight into your right side. Lift that left leg up. Try not to collapse into that right side though, so only lift your leg as high as you can without dropping to that side. And hug the heel to the glute. And give me circles with that knee. 5 in one direction, doesn't matter what direction you start in, you're just slowly opening that hip. Once you've done 5, you're going to reverse it. I just reached my 5th one. 5 in the other direction. You want to try to keep those abs turned toward the ground and those hips too, the remaining hip. 4 and 5. And then back to that tabletop. We are going to keep one leg straight. Keep that same leg straight. Sit back on that toe. Just kind of give your leg a little flex here. And then take that left leg out to the side. Kind of line up your foot with your knee. Keep your right foot and right knee in line. You're going to sit back and go forward, sit back to your starting position, sit back to your starting position. Last one, sit back to your starting position. We're gonna gently pull that left leg in. I'm gonna turn around so I can see camera. We're just gonna do that tabletop on the other side. So right leg up, give me 5 circles in one direction. You can start within any direction. Just keep it slow, keep it pretty even, like don't whoosh through one part of it. You want to make it even. That's 4. And that's 5. And then reverse that. 4. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. And take that right leg back, straighten it. You can't see mine on camera, but I'm just kind of rolling into those toes. They're tucked under, giving the back of that leg a little stretch. And then take your right leg out to the side, line it up in line with that knee or thereabouts. And knee, sit back on the heel and bring it forward. Sit back on the heel. If you feel like this isn't doing anything, you can inch that foot away from the rest of your body. Sit back. Back to that standing knee position, and last one, sitting back and back to tabletop. Drag that foot in. We're going to do some revolved high lunge now. I'm switching around just because this is my normal side. Take those hands under those shoulders again, tuck the toes, push back into a downward dog. Just kind of pedal out the feet a moment. I'm not going for a perfect down dog or for any cues in alignment. I just want you to stretch out for a moment. And then look at your hands. Step that left foot forward up by those hands. Right hand stays down. Open up that left arm to the side. So you should kind of be like closed body, twisting that chest toward that knee. Open body, I would say, is like the other side. But we're having right hand down, right foot down behind you and long, left foot in front by your hand. Reaching this way. Really squeeze those glutes to feel that hip flexor. Do more of that in a moment. And then carefully turn to the ground. Drop that right knee. It doesn't matter if you have 90-degree knees or not, because we're going to push or walk this foot forward a bit. Or more like a runner's lunge. And really sink into that hip and that glute. Activate that right glute. Engage it, give it a little squeeze. Sitting up tall, keeping your breath even here. A few more moments. And then take those hands inside of your foot. Walk your foot open to the edge of your mat a little bit. If you were to draw 2 lines from one side of your mat to the other, like a rectangle, I would want all of your hands and all of your feet inside that rectangle. Take your back toes, tuck them under, lift that knee. Just hold up that lizard lunge pose. If you needed blocks here under your hands, that's fine. Bring the floor closer to you. If you need more space to walk that foot out, that's also fine. But holding this for a moment. And just breathing. You can stay still or you can rock on those toes a little bit, whatever feels good. And then go ahead and drop that knee for a moment. Open up that left foot and either bring those forearms down with your elbows kind of near your foot, or just kind of bend your elbows and let your hands stay on the floor. Or come all the way down. What you should be able to see though is the bottom of your foot. It's also helpful if you want to put blocks under your arms. I don't have mine within reach, otherwise I would have done it, but they would go right under your forearms or elbows. If this becomes uncomfortable, you can kind of lift up out of it, give yourself a little break and come back, or stay in it, up to you. This is a little more intense with that knee and foot opening. We won't be here too much longer. For 3, 2, and 1. Walk those hands back up. Bring that foot back to the floor. Right now, the easiest way is we're going to take that little foot, take it behind you, back to that tabletop for a moment, toes tucked, push back to a downward dog, lift that left leg up, really press into it, look at your hands again, swing it forward for a pigeon. So left knee is near left wrist, left foot is under you. You can also have a block under this hip, And we're just gonna stay up on our hands if that's comfortable for you, or lower to forearms if that's comfortable for you. I'll move back a little. Or come down to forehead on forearms, whatever works for you today. We'll be here for about 30 seconds. Starting now. If this becomes uncomfortable, just give yourself extra long exhales. It's your breathing way of telling your body it's okay. And coming out right now. Walk those hands up. Slide that leg back. I'm going to switch around for the other side. So back in that tabletop position. Wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Tuck those toes, push back to your downward dog. Again, you can pedal out. Sorry again, I'm not in the screen, but you know, this is pretty lo-fi. Take a look at your hands. Step your right foot forward this time. Left hand down, right hand open to the side, close like a revolved high lunge. And again, in that closed position where your body's facing your leg and not facing open. Holding this, you're also welcome to take that hand to that hip. I just want you to think about having your hand under your shoulder. So not way out here, not really far in, you're stacking bones. Squeezing those glutes. A few more breaths here. And then carefully drop that knee, turn toward the ground, tuck the toes, scoot your front foot forward if you want that, and take that low lunge, like that runner's lunge. Just pressing those feet into the ground, those knees, that knee, I should say. Exhaling, catching your breath a little from being in that twisted position. And then go ahead, fold forward, take those hands inside of that foot. So right foot walks to the edge of the mat. Again, think of your hands and your foot being in that little box. Tuck your toes, lift that left knee. Keep in mind one side may feel different than the other, might have less range of motion. And you can stay still or you can rock on those toes again. You might really feel it in that inner thigh muscle, like right across the front of your body. Deeper exhales, as I said, help. And then pause, drop that knee down, untuck your toes. Stay where you are and lower your arms to blocks or open up that foot so that you can see the bottom of it or partially see the bottom of it, knee is open, or come down to your elbows or forearms, whatever works for you. This is also a best thing I've done for this little sequence is that you can keep your socks on if your feet are cold because there's not really a worry of sliding like there is with standing poses. Just holding this lower lizard pose. Few more breaths here. The more you can relax this outer hip that's really doing the work, the more you'll feel it open. Holding for 3, 2, 1. If you're not already up on those hands, walk back up to them. Carefully walk that foot around, swing it around behind you. Get that tabletop again. Maybe sit back just a moment on those heels, kind of rocking from sitting back to tabletop. We are going to do that 3-legged dog and pigeon again. So tuck those toes, push back to downward dog. Lift that right leg up. Doesn't matter how open your hip is, just for a moment. Swing that right leg through, right knee near right wrist. Kind of foot is under you. And stay up on your hands like this. This is perfectly fine for your pigeon. Come down to your forearms or come all the way down to your crossed forearms. and your head can rest on them. We are getting near the end of this. I hope it's been a nice little stretchy pause in your day, some time for yourself, some time to reflect. I know I've done a lot of running and cycling and just more strength training than usual in the last few weeks, so anything I can do for hips and hamstrings has been nice because all around that part has been sore. And then go ahead, walk those hands up, just slide that foot back. Bring those knees to a child's pose that's somewhere between knees touching and knees at the edge of the mat. Just sit back for a moment, forehead to the mat. A very relaxed child's pose. And then thank you for joining me today. I hope you found this useful, feeling good, whatever the case, let me know. And next time I do a hips and hamstrings, it will be all seated or on our backs. Have a good day.